Hi everyone, Natalie here from Pobok ZA, and welcome to the latest episode of my career mode. We're in round 5, we're going into the Spanish Grand Prix. We have had a lot of unreliability, so we want to save the components as much as we possibly can. So for the practice sessions, we are running with older components so that we can save the fresher elements for qualifying and the race. I have a pretty good feeling about the Spanish Grand Prix. It's a circuit that I like quite a lot, so hopefully we should be able
to the circuit
to perhaps score a few points if there's a bit of unreliability or a couple of crashes or retirements ahead of us.
For what we're expecting to be a very hectic practice session. An opportunity here then for the drivers to learn the track and learn the car, and of course work out all the little kinks that show up when the teams put these cars together at the circuit. Anthony Davidson, this is all very familiar to you of course, so why don't you give us an idea as to what the drivers will be getting up to in these sessions?
I'd say the first responsibility for drivers during pre-practice is in gathering data for correlation purposes, which allows the engineers to match real-life data against the simulation. Secondly, the driver then needs to dial themselves into a circuit that they may not have driven around for a full year, which is a fact that's often overlooked. And then you finally focus on the details of car setup and the tyre wear. It's critical to have a good relationship with your engineer here so they can make the right adjustments at the right time to the car that ultimately bring out the performance you're looking for.
So we're going to set off on the track acclimatization. The nice thing about this is that you don't really have to worry about the condition of your components or your gearbox. You can literally trundle around at a pretty slow pace and get the resource points that are so valuable, of course, in the F1 2017 career mode. I'm quite a fan of the Circuit de Barcelona Catalunya. Of course, so is Formula One. They go testing here, of course, before the season starts. So it's a circuit that the drivers and the teams know really, really well. And from all my years of playing racing games, I do too. So we're not able to achieve the perfect purple score. Nevertheless, we get through it. We have a bit of a gearbox glitch, but we're able to get through it, and right now we're starting one of the other practice programs, the tyre wear program. Have to say, since this has been introduced to the Formula One titles, I've been pretty good at looking after my tyres, especially in the practice programs. I don't know so much about the races. The tyres don't seem to stand up as well as I'd like to the abuse that they are put through in race scenario. Nevertheless, we're able to complete the tyre wear program, still with the gearbox glitch. Make a bit of a mess of that corner, but it's okay, we're still within.
The gearbox is damaged. Gearbox is damaged. Your work can find gear changes slower. We're not hitting our target. We'll need to rerun the program if we don't get the time delta back in the green.
And here you can see that glitch of the gearbox turns out to be quite a more significant issue than we initially thought it would be in these practice programs. We weren't able to hit the target time on that first lap after all, and now we're gonna have to cut this session short. Well, that's what I thought at the time, at least. Somehow, maybe through some software reset, the team get the gearbox going again, which is great news. So we set off and we trying to run the tyre wear practice program again, hoping that this time we can get through it and gain those resource points so that we can maybe apply it to the durability of these components. And we can finally start to see that take effect, and hopefully our gearbox that seems to be made of paper, it's so flimsy, hopefully we can start to get a bit more life out of that and not have to take a penalty at every race. This time we're able to get through the session. I'm only doing one lap so I can save the engine for some of the other practice programs. We get into qualifying. We've had a pretty good pace the whole weekend, so there may be a chance that we get through to Q2, which would be an absolutely brilliant achievement. As you can see, we're 8th at the moment, and we're going for our second run in the qualifying session, hoping that we can improve a bit. We're up by a couple of tenths that we gained in the first braking zone in turn 1. By this stage we're about half a second up on our previous lap, so this has been pretty tidy. And we go P9 at this stage, still a little bit of ways to go. So we're going to have to see where we end up at the end of this qualifying session. th, that's a pretty good day at the office. Here we go with the start of the Grand Prix. We've had to take a penalty, so we're 20th. Again, get a bit of wheel spin off the line. We've really got to sort out those starts. But at this stage I'm thinking I just want to stay clear of the carnage. But then a rush of blood.
We're looking at some gearbox wear. Try to keep your number of shifts to a minimum.
And another gearbox issue. I told you, it's made of paper. We take Felipe Massa. We tried to go onto Verstappen. And we tangle with Verstappen.
He wants to play bumper cars or something.
Gotta take full responsibility for that one though. We did sort of run him out of space. And here's a bit of a replay of the start, so you can see our way too ambitious move on the Red Bull of Max Verstappen. Onto the grass. We managed to keep it pointing in the right way. Now we're feeling pretty good about what we've just pulled off into turn 1. We're going to have Felipe Massa. Then we think, let's have Max Verstappen too. Doesn't quite go to plan. Yeah, we definitely did not leave him enough space there. We've lost the front wing, so we're trying to make it back to the pit lane, get a new wing, get onto some new tires, and see what we can do from there. Unfortunately, our pit box is right at the end of the pit lane.
One eternity later.
Changing the front wing there, you can see Max Verstappen getting out ahead of us. We're on the orange wall tires, which should last us to the end of the race if we look after them a little bit initially. We have a pretty good pace for the majority of the race, but we're under no illusion that we're going to be able to match the pace or even beat the pace of Max Verstappen. So he's not a target for us at this stage of the Grand Prix. I'm also a bit reluctant to run the engine in rich mode because of all the issues that we've had with it. So there's a real consideration that's got to go on as far as that's concerned. Do you run rich revs and risk damaging your components more, or do you just try to run your race in standard revs at least and see where you end up? Hopefully still with a good pace. We gain a couple of places thanks to people pitting not too long after we had our first lap incident. So currently we're ahead of Fernando Alonso, but I'm not sure how long that's gonna last because he is on the quicker medium tire. But also say I really like the replay function of F1 2017. It's really easy and nice to use and gives us some nice shots.
Pascal is in the pits.
We're currently up to P14. It's Carlos Sainz ahead of us. And we're only up to P14 because of other people diving into the pit lane. Nevertheless, we'll take it and see how far we can actually stretch our position and how long we can stay there. We're going pretty well. Our pace is actually comparable to the Toro Rosso of Carlos Sainz, which actually makes me think that we may have to look at setting up the AI, because I don't think at this stage of the season that the Sauber should be able to match the pace of the Toro Rosso. We fast forwarded a bit in the race. We're in 16th place at the moment, still Van Dorn behind us. And now we're just really trying to nurse this to the end, hoping that we don't get hit with some kind of issue. Don't want to hear from Jeff. And yeah, there it is.
A mechanical issue means you've lost one of the gears. Say again, you have lost access to one of the gears.
Yet another gearbox issue, and we almost take out our teammate there. Sorry, Pascal. Now we've just got to nurse this to the checkered flag. Absolutely horrendous Spanish Grand Prix that started so well in Saturday, but just goes to prove again, in the world of Formula 1, it's Sundays that count. If you liked the video, please hit subscribe, leave a comment, hit the like button, and I'll see you next time for the Monaco Grand Prix.